Amara had no father. She had no mother. She had no brothers or sisters to protect her. Her parents had passed away when she was very young, leaving her in the care of her aunt, a woman known in the village for her sharp tongue and cold heart. Amara lived in a small hut behind her aunt's house. The roof leaked when it rained. The floor was rough and dusty. Her bed was only a thin mat spread across the ground. Every morning before the sun rose, Amara would wake up to fetch water from the stream. She would sweep the compound, wash clothes, gather firewood, cook meals, and clean the pots. But no matter how hard she worked, her aunt never thanked her. "Lazy girl," her aunt would shout. "You eat my food, yet you do nothing useful." Amara would lower her head and remain silent. She had learned that some people do not listen to the truth when their hearts are already closed. In that same house lived her two cousins, Lami and Binta. They wore bright dresses, colorful beads, and fine sandals. They spent their days laughing, gossiping, and admiring themselves in polished metal mirrors. They never helped Amara. Instead, they mocked her. "Look at your clothes," Lami would say, laughing. "Even a scarecrow looks better than you." Binta would add, "No man will ever choose a girl like you. You are only good for carrying water and cleaning ashes." Amara said nothing. But deep inside her heart, she carried a quiet strength. She believed that a person's value was not in the clothes they wore, the food they ate, or the house they slept in. She believed true beauty lived in kindness, patience, and courage. One afternoon, news spread across the village like fire in dry grass. The king's son, Prince Kalen, was coming to the village. The prince had reached the age to marry, but he did not want a wife, chosen only because of beauty, wealth, or family name. He wanted someone with a good heart. So the king announced that every young woman in the village should come to the palace courtyard the next day. The prince would observe them and choose the woman he believed was worthy to become his wife. The whole village became excited. Mothers rushed to prepare their daughters. Girls washed their hair, polished their beads, and brought out their finest wrappers. Amara's cousins could hardly sleep that night. Lami said, "The prince will surely choose me. I am the most beautiful girl in this village." Binta laughed and said, "No, he will choose me. My smile alone is enough to win his heart." Their mother smiled proudly. "My daughters," she said, "tomorrow one of you will enter the palace. I can feel it." Amara stood quietly near the cooking fire, listening. For a moment, she imagined herself walking into the palace courtyard. But her aunt saw the look in her eyes and burst into laughter. "You," she said, "do not even dream of going near the palace. You will stay here and finish your chores." Imagine Amara standing before the prince in those torn clothes. Binta added, "The guards might think she came to beg for leftover food." The three of them laughed loudly. Amara turned away, pretending their words did not hurt. But that night, as she lay on her mat, a tear rolled down her cheek. She whispered, "Mother, father, if you can hear me, please give me strength." The next morning, the village was alive with excitement. Drums sounded in the distance. Women sang. Children ran beside the road, hoping to see the prince's horse. Amara's aunt and cousins dressed beautifully and left for the palace courtyard. Before leaving, her aunt pointed to a large pile of dirty clothes, 2 empty water pots, and a basket of cassava. "Finish everything before we return," she ordered, "and do not step outside this compound." Then they left. Amara worked quietly. She fetched water, she washed the clothes, she peeled the cassava. She swept the compound until there was no dust left. By midday, she was tired and hungry. There was only one small bowl of yam porridge left in the kitchen. It was meant for her. She sat under a tree, ready to eat. Just then, she heard a weak voice from the road. "My child, please, can you help me?" Amara looked up. An old woman stood near the gate. Her back was bent, her clothes were dusty, her feet were bare and cracked from walking. She looked tired, hungry, and thirsty. Amara quickly stood up. "Mother, come and sit," she said gently. The old woman lowered herself onto a wooden stool. "I have been walking since morning," the woman said. "Nobody would give me water. They said they were too busy preparing for the prince." Amara looked at the bowl in her hand. It was her only food. Her stomach was empty. But when she looked at the old woman's tired face, she could not eat while another person suffered. So she smiled and gave the bowl to the woman. "Please eat," Amara said. The old woman stared at her. "What about you?" she asked. "I will be fine," Amara replied. The old woman ate slowly. When she finished, Amara brought water and washed her feet. The old woman looked at her for a long time. Then she said, "My child, why did you help me when you have so little?" Amara answered, "Because hunger feels the same in every stomach. Pain feels the same in every heart. If I can help, even a little, I should." The old woman's eyes softened. She reached into her small bag and brought out a tiny wooden comb. It looked old and simple. "When the time comes, use it." Amara accepted it politely, even though she did not understand. "Thank you, Mother," she said. The old woman stood up, smiled, and continued down the road. A few moments later, Amara looked at the sky. The sun was still high. Her chores were done. For the first time that day, she wondered, what if I go to the palace just to watch from far away? She knew her aunt would be angry. But something in her heart told her to go. She washed her face, changed into the cleanest old dress she owned, and used the wooden comb the old woman had given her. As soon as the comb touched her hair, something strange happened. Her tangled hair became smooth and shining. Her old dress looked brighter, not rich, but neat and beautiful. Her tired face seemed peaceful and full of light. Amara gasped. She looked around, wondering if she was dreaming. Then she held the comb close to her chest and whispered, "Thank you." She walked quickly to the palace courtyard. By the time she arrived, the place was full. Young women stood in rows, dressed in their finest clothes. Some wore gold bracelets, some wore silk wrappers. Some had beads from their necks to their ankles. Prince Kalen sat beside his father, watching carefully. One by one, the young women stepped forward. Some praised themselves. Some spoke about their beauty. Some spoke about their family's wealth. Some promised they would make the prince proud because they came from important homes. Lami stepped forward and bowed. "My prince," she said sweetly, "choose me, and everyone will admire your wife." Binta followed. "My prince, choose me, and I will bring beauty into your palace." The prince listened politely, but his face did not change. Then Amara arrived quietly and stood at the back of the crowd. Her cousins saw her immediately. Lami's mouth opened in shock. Binta whispered, "Why is she doing here?" Their mother's face turned red with anger. She pushed through the crowd and grabbed Amara's arm. "I told you to stay at home," she hissed. But before she could drag Amara away, the prince noticed the commotion. "Let the girl come forward," Prince Kalen said. The courtyard became silent. Amara's aunt froze. Slowly, Amara walked forward. She bowed respectfully. The prince looked at her and asked, "What is your name?" "My name is Amara, my prince." "Why did you come so late?" Amara lowered her eyes. "I had chores to finish, my prince." Some girls laughed quietly. The prince asked, "And what would you offer the palace if you were chosen?" Amara thought for a moment. Then she said, "I do not have gold. I do not have rich clothes. I do not come from a powerful family. But I can offer honesty, kindness, patience, and hard work. I believe a home is not made strong by beauty alone. It is made strong by the heart of those who live in it." The crowd became quiet. Even the king leaned forward. Prince Kalen studied her carefully. Then he asked, "If you had only one bowl of food, and met someone hungrier than you, what would you do?" Amara looked surprised. She remembered the old woman. "I would share it," she said, "or give it, if the person needed it more." The prince stood up. "And if nobody praised you for it?" Amara answered, "Kindness is not only good when people are watching." A gentle smile appeared on the prince's face. Then from behind the king's chair, an old woman stepped forward. The whole crowd gasped. It was the same old woman Amara had helped, but now she stood tall. Her dusty clothes were gone. She wore a royal robe, and a golden scarf rested on her shoulders. Amara's eyes widened. The old woman smiled. "My people," she said, "I am the king's elder sister. Today I walked through the village dressed as a poor old traveler. I asked many homes for food and water. Most turned me away. Some laughed at me. Some said they had no time because they were preparing to impress the prince." She turned and looked at Amara. "But this girl, who had almost nothing, gave me her only meal. She gave me water. She washed my tired feet." She expected no reward. The courtyard fell completely silent. Lami looked down. Binta covered her face. Their mother could not speak. The old woman continued, "Many people dressed beautifully today, but this girl's heart was the most beautiful thing I saw." The king nodded slowly. Prince Kalen stepped down from his seat and stood before Amara. "Amara," he said, "I was not looking for the richest girl. I was not looking for the loudest girl. I was not even looking for the most admired girl. I was looking for someone whose heart remained kind, even when life had been unkind to her." Amara's eyes filled with tears. The prince turned to the king. "Father, this is the woman I choose." The crowd erupted in surprise. Some cheered, some whispered, some stood with their mouths open. Amara's aunt rushed forward. "My king, my prince, there must be a mistake. This girl is only a servant in my house." The old woman looked at her sharply. "She is not a servant. She is your niece, and you treated her with cruelty." The aunt fell silent. The king spoke with authority. "From this day, Amara will no longer live in sorrow. She will be honored in this palace." Prince Kalen turned to Amara. "But the choice is yours. Do you accept?" Amara looked at the prince. Then she looked at the old woman who had tested the hearts of the village. Finally, she looked at her aunt and cousins. She did not smile with pride. She did not laugh at their shame. Instead, she bowed her head and said, "I accept, my prince. But I ask one thing." The king raised his eyebrow. "What do you ask?" Amara said, "Please do not punish my aunt and cousins harshly. Let them learn from what happened today. A bitter heart can change if it is given the chance." The old woman smiled. The king nodded with approval. Prince Kalen looked at Amara with even greater respect. "Your kindness has not made you weak," he said. "It has made you strong." And so Amara was welcomed into the palace. But she never forgot where she came from. When she became princess, she built a home for orphan children near the village. She made sure no child slept hungry. She made sure no girl was told she had no value simply because she was poor. As for Lami and Binta, they changed slowly. At first, they were ashamed. But over time, they began helping others. They learned that beauty fades, fine clothes tear, and praise disappears. But a good heart leaves a mark that people remember forever. And Amara's aunt, who had once treated her like nothing, lived long enough to see the girl she rejected become the most loved woman in the kingdom. Years later, when people told Amara's story, they would say, "The world may ignore a kind heart for a season, but heaven never forgets it." And that is why, in many villages, elders still teach children this lesson. Do not look down on anyone because of their clothes, their poverty, or their quietness. The person you reject today may be the person chosen for honor tomorrow. And sometimes, one small act of kindness can open a door that years of pride could never unlock.